Welcome, everybody, to Beatnix on the Road, brought to you by the Nuyorican Poets Cafe and Mid-Atlantic Group. Beatnix on the Road is a virtual poetry tour where every episode we stop in a different city and we get to meet the poets and hear some of the poetry from their scene. And today's episode is New Orleans. I have never been to New Orleans. How do you say it?
Not like that. No.
How you say it?
There's a couple different ways. I say New Orleans, but there's a couple, people say it different ways.
Word, word, word. Well, I've never been, but I know for a fact that there are some amazing poets out that way, starting with the legendary Frequency. And I'm gonna read y'all this bio. Frequency, storyteller, organizer, speaker, host, workshop leader, chaos collegist, youth worker, and performance artist.
Collagist.
Collagist, thank you. Chaos collagist, that is well phrased. Youth worker and performance artist. Frequency is a gender renegade Kenyan immigrant who self-identifies as masculine off-center, femme adjacent, and auntie and or pretty boy. Frequency's anti-disciplinary work interrogates and occupies the in-between while exploring the nuances and stark contradictions of existence under racialized capitalism. This humanoid is the 2018 Women of the World Poetry Slam champion. It's true, I was there, I saw it happen. The founder of Paza Sauti. How do you pronounce that? Not sure.
Paza
No,
Sauti.
Paza Sauti, Kenya, and has been featured in or written for The Independent, The New York Times, OK Africa, and many other outlets. Their poetry and performances have amassed.
I'm so ashamed to have written for the New York Times, given how the New York Times has been. So I'm gonna have to cut that out the bio.
Hey, snip, snip. You know, we progress. But also, I think that's still a testament to what you're able to do. But yes, perhaps that might be the move. Their poetry and performances have amassed over 2 million views online, including a TED Talk that almost didn't get released. I want to know more about that almost. But I'm gonna get out of your hair. But Frequency, how are you doing?
I'm chilling. I'm good. I find myself back at home right now. So I'm very relaxed. I'm very good. How you doing?
I'm good, but wait, you're not in New Orleans right now, right?
I'm not in New Orleans right now. I left New Orleans like 2 weeks ago to come to my other home, which is where I was originally born in Kenya, in this humanoid form that you currently see in front of yourself. So right now I'm at my cousin's house in Kikuyu. So yeah, vibes.
That's how New Orleans poets be getting down, the international vibe. Well, everybody, poetry lovers, I give you the legendary Frequency.
All right, y'all. Got 3 pieces for you that I've wrote, and one that I'll share that'll accompany one of my pieces that I didn't write. But this first one I like to do is an introduction. I've written 2 pieces in my life that were bios, and the first one is literally called the bio, and this one is written after a Lucille Clifton poem called "Why Some People Be Mad at Me Sometimes." And in her poem, she says, "They ask me to remember, but they want me to remember their memories, and I keep on remembering mine." And so I listened to that piece and I meditated on it. And then I wrote this piece called "Why Some People Be Mad at Me All the Time" by Frequency.
I'm so sorry, Frequency. Before you get started,
Because I'm fly.
can you say that quote one more time?
Yeah, yeah. The poem is "Why Some People Be Mad at Me Sometimes" by Lucille Clifton. And the quote is the entire poem. She was doing this micro poetry shit before Instagram.
Hmm. Okay.
But it says, they ask me to remember, but they want me to remember their memories, and I keep on remembering mine.
Fire. Okay, I'm gonna be quiet.
Right? No, that shit hit me too. I was like, oh, oh. And really what I did is I just sat and I thought about all the times in my life that people had been mad at me that literally had nothing to do with me. When I thought back on it, I'm like, huh, okay,
Mm,
that's your situation. So I really just internalized it and I was like, yeah, why do people be mad at me? And this is Frequency's version.
mm.
So why some people be mad at me all the time? Because I'm fly, because I'm free, Because I love, like, I expect you to love me back as fiercely. Because I always forget what I ask, even when I forget to ask for it. Because I've always said cousin acts, and that's exactly what I've meant. Because I got receipts. Because I'm the damn cashier. Because I've been a window shopper with a brick in my bag. Because I stopped screaming back as their throats went hoarse. Because I never back down as their fingers form fists. Because I won't be the woman that they want me to be. Because I use whatever bathroom feels right, even when it doesn't feel safe. Because I speak up even when I'm unsure of the words. Because I don't bullshit well. Because I don't take bullshit well. Because I pretend not to hear you by pointing to my earbuds when you can clearly see that my headphones aren't even plugged in. Because I win. Because I win. Because I win. Because I win, because I win, because I win, because I win, because I lose, 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 but that has never stopped me from winning, because I've climbed back from the pitfalls of perfection, because I know that no is not a word, it is a sentence, because I've learned to answer only to my names, because I've been wrong, but I know that wrong is not my name, because I'm not the same on and off the stage, because I love myself enough to know the difference, because I'm grateful and full of greatness, because I love better than I fight, because I'm a damn good fighter, because I'm full of myself, because I've been myself, because I keep becoming myself, because I'm pretty enough to take your boyfriend, because I'm handsome enough to be your boyfriend, because I'm free, because I'm free, because I'm free, because I'm free, because I know we have nothing to lose but our chains, but our shame, but our smallness, but our fear. And sometimes I'll be mad at my own full self because I forget I do not write these poems. I forget I am these poems. I forget I am this poem, even when I can't seem to remember the words.
Yo, I don't write the poem. I am the poem, even when I can't remember the words. Oh my God. Air horns, air horns, air horns. Because I got receipts because I'm the damn cashier. Yo, Frequency was writing that day. Frequency was that day because you didn't write it. You am that.
What? There
Oh,
you go.
goodness.
I
Yo,
have this low key theory, and I'm not going to keep interrupting you, right? But I got this theory that I've been working out every time I get on a stage that, like, I'm not even sure poetry exists entirely. I think poems exist, and we have tried to, like, put them in this container of understanding that the force that is poetry, like that poems are, cannot actually be contained. And the only container that we've been able to provide the essence of poems that have been able to contain them somewhat is the vessel of ourselves. And so, like, if you really want to see or hear a poem, like, talk to the people who identify as poets, but not reading their works, experience them. They are the poems.
That's really well put. That's really, really, really well put. I feel very similarly. Like, the poems are only like the tip of the iceberg of whatever poetry is. And if y'all are in the comments, let us know, like, what would you define poetry as? And if you're defining it as like written work or spoken work, I'm I don't know how to explain it, but there's just so much more to it. Like, you have to walk it, how you talk it is the next step. There's so many steps. I don't know. What else do you think poetry entails, Frequency?
Mm. I think about the process that people have, like, of writing poetry, and I think if you can, like, transfer that process into living, then that is poetry, right? Those are the poetics of being. Is like, McPherson, when you want to write a piece, right, you feel something first, right? So feeling is the core essence of poetry, humanity, right? Then you put it down, you archive it, you preserve it in some kind of way as like a marker of existence. It might be a journal entry, it might be whatever, and then you edit it, right? Like, I'm one of those poets in, like, the Little Wayne school of writing who has never finished writing a poem. Every time I perform, there might be a little edit that I do, and I think this is where also, as performers, it, like, complicates the idea of poetry being this static thing. It is actually whatever is needed in the moment to express the reality of whatever people need to understand in that time. And I also think poetry and poets a lot, like, play the role as translators. Like, there are so many things that I say in my everyday life that people consider inflammatory, but when I put it in a poem, people are like, damn, that nigga been writing.
Yeah. I find, like, when I'm doing a TikTok video, and I say the thing, everybody's inflamed. But if I'm on stage, even reading it off my phone, they're enchanted somehow. And you said that the poem is a marker of existence. the poem might be a marker of poetry. So what's the second marker you got for us?
Ooh, okay. So I also just think poetry is fun. Again, it's about expression and aliveness. And so the second piece that I'm gonna share with you, both of these are from my book, which is coming out in 2025 through Button Poetry, called, it's another thing, right? It's called On Unbecoming, but it's actually called On Becoming and Unbecoming. It has a simultaneous title, and it does a lot of wordplay visually when you're looking at how, because it's, for me, it's like a thing can never start without a thing ending. So how do you communicate the simultaneousness of those at the same time? Like, yeah, it's a lot. The book is great. This is one of the first times that I'm like, you actually need to read the book versus hearing me say it, because it's
Oh,
hard. I haven't quite found the way to articulate it, but it takes
oh,
it's written to my mother, and it takes her through a journey of the different selves that I am. And so that first section was in frequency section, because I wanted y'all to, be introduced to this person, Frequency, who we were talking to. But another self in this book is called Starboy, and it's more of like the personification of like the masculine essence within me, which really is just a pretty boy, right? And so I was writing, I was at like a residency writing this book, and I was putting on music that just was like nostalgic and really trying to reground me. And I put on Pretty Boy Swag by Soldier Boy. And I was just like listening to it. And I don't think I'd really listened to the lyrics in a minute. And I was just like, oh God, what
mm,
was middle school me doing bumping to this music? Like, no wonder I had so much to unlearn. And then I was also in this place in my life where I'm really, I was thinking about hip hop, and I used to actually be a rapper before I was a poet. Nobody knows that. Oh,
yeah,
I was a pretty good rapper. I just want to say I won a regional contest. I was on the low radio, whatever.
got a fact.
But I was a little too reckless on the mic when I was a rapper.
Oh,
So my rap name was Freak the Mighty, and I wrote this little remix so that y'all can hear from Frequency and Freak the Mighty for Pretty Boy Swag. So this is called Pretty Boy Swag, an urgent remix.
by Freak the Mighty, let me hide myself.
Yay! This right here is my swag. All the haters is on me. Swag. Everybody pay attention, because this right here is my pretty boy swag. Hey, pretty boy swag. Hey, pretty boy swag. Hey, haters scream my name when I pretty boy swag. All the pretty boys stand up. Shake your tail feathers like you know what the good Lord gave you. Like you know to celebrate while you can, because beauty moves real quick from blessing to burden on some bodies. Everybody pay attention. I pay my haters no mind, because pretty the only thing I know. Pretty the people I come from, pretty the places I go. I roll to all who say this pretty's unnatural. I roll through with my boys just to prove them unfactual. Get out the way, pretty boys coming through, bringing all the boys to the yard, because we all live in proof. We show up peacock pretty, seahorse sexy, flatworm fine, giraffe gait and gorgeous. We show up as we are, because we built pretty on purpose. If a hater say my pretty not natural, I tell them sag been a form of self-defense. That pretty don't just hurt, it's killed for less. That these bright colors aren't invitation, they're warning coloration. Everybody pay attention. Pretty boy swag, hey, pretty boy swag, hey, pretty boy swag, hey. This right here is my swag. Tatted on my neck, nice titties, a fat ass booty, so pretty, so homo, goddamn. Hate to stay on my dick, and I ain't even put it on yet. To be honest, your boy's so self-defined, the dictionary lost its spine. Apologize for being unable to find words for this beauty. That shit blew me. So I made up my own names, and they all mean pretty, flamboyant, masculine, off-center, for masculine, my top 3 currently. But I still can't tell if all my haters heard me. So let me say it one time loud for anybody thinking of being ugly. Everybody pay attention. This right here is my swag. All the haters is on me. Swag. Everybody pay attention, because this right here is my pretty boy swag. Hey, pretty boy swag. Hey, pretty boy swag. Hey, haters on my dick when I pretty boy swag.
Yo, haters on my dick and I ain't put it on yet. Had me done. It's a good thing I was muted. Otherwise, they would not have heard a word you said. Um, also,
Sorry, the camera felt. I was like banging on the table, making a
I
beat.
get it, I
Like,
get it.
oh wait,
I, I,
that's your
I
surface.
think you added a little flourish to it. You got to do that in one of your music videos. Also, Seahorse Sexy, very nice, very cool, very cool.
You see,
Yeah, no, I see because
like if you know any, I was about to say, if you know anything about animals, all those references, like, I don't know, people be like, homosexuality, transness is unnatural. I'm like, nature is so fucking gay and gender like fluid and all this shit. So I really went and I was doing some little research. I was like, damn, did you know that most giraffes are just fucking other male giraffes until they have to reproduce, and then they just go and like smack their heads against a female giraffe's like uterus, they pee in their mouth, they're like, okay, you're fertile, let's fuck. But you want to tell me I'm weird? Okay.
Did not know about the peeing in the mouth. Did not know about
Let's look to nature then.
word.
Look,
Yeah.
nature's kinky too.
Okay. So, like I said, y'all, let me know in the comments if y'all have been to New Orleans and like what's something that y'all like to do out there. I've never been. I've just met a lot of the poets, and you'll see like they don't F around. But frequency, I gotta come out to New Orleans at some point. But like, what do I need to do when I'm out there?
People ask me this all the time because I live there, but I'm one of the worst people to ask because I just do I'm a sun sitter. Like I go by the water and I lay by the water and I write my little poems and I smoke my little spliffs and then I go back to my little cave and that's my life. But
Okay.
a lot of people I hear like to eat in New Orleans. I have like a real basic eating thing. I'm telling you, I'm a village person. I'm like my eating palate is very, very simple. So I'm not the best to ask for that. You should be asking Akeem. Why are you asking me these questions? Ask Akeem how to pronounce New Orleans. Ask Akeem what to eat. Ask me what I be doing in my little cave in New Orleans.
I see. Well, I mean, okay, so the beaches, so sundowns, bonfires. No?
There is a little beach that they're trying to fix up, get together, called Lincoln Beach. Historically it was a black beach because the other beach was not allowing black people to be there, but there was a community cleanup that had been happening over the last couple of years because the city was like, is it worth it? And then once the folks in community got it together, and the city was able to see the value in it, they've started actually investing in the infrastructure of it. So soon when you come, you'll be able to come to a beach in New Orleans. But I honestly, I love going by the bayou. I love going by the wake. I follow all the bodies of water in New Orleans, basically. So you can come find me laying along one of those banks at any time, even when it's super hot. I love that heat of New Orleans. Plays about that like July, August. That's when I moved to New Orleans, and I was like, people be talking about the heat of the African sun. They think it's in Africa because that bitch came to New Orleans. I'm telling you right now.
Okay, good to know. Very, very hot. Very, very hot in New Orleans. All right. Well, to my understanding, you have a suite of poems left. Yeah. It's like
I do. So these last two, the first one that I'm gonna read is not my poem, but I heard this poem in, I think it was 2015, and like I wanted to like it, but something in like deep in my core, in my spirit that I had not yet accessed was like, nah. And so I was like, oh, okay. And so I heard the poem, and poetry to me often just like really I've considered myself like a vessel through which these pieces come through. And so sometimes they'll come complete, sometimes they'll come and be like, you're not ready for this piece, but I'll let you know, you'll have to write it, so here's this tidbit. And so this piece is called I Want a Dyke for President, and I'll read it to you. But when I first heard it, the only part that came to me was I don't want a dyke for president. And I was like, that's a very aggressive statement to make without any other surrounding words. So let's put that poem down for a while. And that was like 2016 or something. And every year or so, I would get like a line or a poem when I'd had these interactions. And I was just like,
oh.
And gradually, as I was learning more about abolition and things, I started like, that's the actual like core of the poem, right? Is it's not just I don't want a dyke for presidents, I don't want a president. And then I was still not in a place to write it. And then there was the last election in 2020, there was a thing called 45 Lies, where they asked poets to speak to a lie from 45 and try to dispel it so we could all like understand he was a liar, which I'm like, at this point, if you ain't know that, I don't know. But also I struggled to with that idea, right? Because I was like, how am I supposed to write to one lie from fucking Donald Trump? He's a lie. Then I was like, well, Obama was a fucking, oh my God, the whole thing is a lie. And so yeah, let me read you this first piece, and then I'll read you the piece I eventually wrote for 45 Lies. So this is I Want a Dyke by Zoe Leonard. I want a dyke for president. I want a person with AIDS for president. And I want a fag for vice president. And I want someone with no health insurance. And I want someone who grew up in a place where the earth is so saturated with toxic waste that they didn't have a choice about getting leukemia. I want a president that had an abortion at 16. And I want a candidate who isn't the lesser of two evils. And I want a president who lost their last lover to AIDS, who still sees that in their eyes every time they lay down to rest, who held their lover in their arms and knew that they were dying. I want a president with no air conditioning, a president who stood in line at the clinic, at the DMV, at the welfare office, has been unemployed and laid off and sexually harassed and gay bashed and deported. I want someone who has spent the night in the tombs and survived and had a cross burned on their lawn and survived rape. I want someone who's been in love and been hurt, who respects sex, who has made mistakes and learned from them. I want a Black woman for president. I want someone with bad teeth and an attitude, someone who has eaten that nasty hospital food, someone who cross-dresses and has done drugs and been in therapy. I want someone who's committed civil disobedience. And I want to know why this isn't possible. I want to know why we started learning somewhere down the line that a president is always a clown, always a John and never a hooker, always a boss and never a worker, always a liar, always a thief and never caught. Right? That's a pretty good poem. So now imagine you hear that, and then your response to it is, I don't want a dyke for president. Aggressive. So 4 or 5 years later, I sat and I wrote this piece, which is called 1 through 45 have lied. 46 through 100 will be no different. Or I don't want a dyke for president. Oh, silly humans, how quickly we forget. We who were once ruled by thrones and those who told us they were born to sit upon them. We, the descendants of those who overthrew dynasties and decapitated dictators. Who are we in this moment to not remember how much we've already overcome? How dare we dream so small? No, I don't want another 4 years of Trump. I don't want any Republican for president, but I don't want any Democrats either. No Democrats, no dykes, no people who've been unemployed. I don't want a Black woman in office, not Oprah, Ava, or even Michelle, or fucking Kamala at this point. No immigrants in the Oval. I don't care how many or which drugs they've done. I don't want a president at all. After all, what is a president but a small king? An emperor whose new clothes I cannot see. An agreement we made collectively we can unmake just as easily. I pledge no allegiance to America just because white men defiled it with borders and called the result a country. I do not confuse dying to vote with dying for freedom, even though they meant the same thing at one time in history. I will not sit at a table whose legs are bent backs and we dine only on scarcity. I wanted to dare to dream beyond the dictates of this dystopia, to admit the ending that we feared was coming came long ago and we have simply been living in its shadow. I want us to admit more than this being a failure from the start, to say that America never was great and never can be. That sometimes the rot is so deep in the root that a pruning does not breed possibility, that any hope for a harvest lies in the fields that we sprouted from, being raised and resown entirely. And I want to know why this isn't possible. I want to know why we started learning somewhere down the line that a president is always needed, that the country is always needed, that the police are always needed, that any of this has ever been and will always be needed. And I want to know how after slavery, genocide, colonialism, and all of the ways that they've renamed the taking, how in the world did they convince us that they know how to run one better than we did or do? And I know it's sometimes hard to imagine that all of us can truly get free, but I need you to believe that we already are. I need you to believe that we always have been, no matter the master or the monarch, but only if we dared to dream beyond what we could see, only if we understood that reskinning or regendering the beast would never change a rumbling in its belly. See, sometimes I daydream I will live to see a day that a child is born so free they will hear this poem and wonder what the hell a president even is. And I believe we can do it. And I accept we will be ourselves in the doing. I accept there will be disagreement, that we will conflict as we unravel our imposed inhumanity, as we realize we have less to learn than to unlearn in order to remember our collective body. And I want to know why this isn't possible. I want to know why we started learning somewhere down the line that a president is always needed, that the police are always needed, that any of this has ever been and will always be needed. And I want to know how we were asked to write to one lie from one president in one poem when the sum of this country's presidencies is an untruth. 45 lies, yes, but so did 44, and so will 46, and so will our writing if we do not speak to the entirety of this. Oh, silly writers, how quickly we forget. We who were once ruled by thrones and those who told us they were born to sit upon them. We, the descendants of those who overthrew dynasties and decapitated dictators. Who are we in this moment to not remember how much we've already overcome? How dare we write so small?
Sheesh, come on. You said 45 lied. So did 44. So will 46. And so will we if we don't start. What did you say? If we don't start writing what?
To the entirety of this.
For the entirety of this. That's right. Oh my God. Yo, what a poem. Oh, I'm so glad I heard that poem. I'm glad that y'all heard that poem too. Y'all let me know what y'all's favorite line was. Bang. So, but in all these poems, so many bars, just one right after the other. Frequency, thank you so much for blessing us. What can we pre-order the book? Can we follow you on Instagram? What can we do to support?
Indeed, you could always follow me on Instagram at Wenders and Suspenders, but the easiest way to really keep in touch with me, if you go to my website, Frequency Speaks, frequency with 2 E's, like FREE. You can pre-order my book from there. You can find other videos that I have. You can sign up for my newsletter. You can find all my info on my website. So yeah, thank y'all for being here and for receiving these words.
One day it was, or frequency rather, it was such a pleasure. All right, McPherson, who you got next? Akeem Alaj. King Akeem is a father, poet, actor, playwright, architect, martial artist, and activist from New Orleans, Louisiana, now based in Austin, Texas. He's won 1 international slam, 3 national poetry slam championships. I think I was there for 2 of them, and 6 regional slam titles. He's open for Big Frida, Alfred Banks. Oh dang, who I'm gonna disrespect that name.
Adia Victoria. Let's see. Lettucey.
That's it. And Andra Day.
Yeah, Andra Day.
Andra Day, pardon me. And then of course Tank and the Bangers.
Yeah.
And Kendrick Lamar. That I did not know. Sierra, what? Bro, and Faith Evans. That's OD. Yo, your bio has become a 3D pop-up book. I love it. As a speaker slash activist, Akeem has spoken or given workshops at over 75 colleges and conferences across the country on topics ranging from domestic violence, Black Lives Matter, HIV awareness, LGBTQ rights, the effects of spoken poetry on people with speech impairments, Black survival during Louisiana Reconstruction, and Southern art. He has been featured in Rigorous Mag, the Black Youth Project, CBS Evening News, USA Today, Button Poetry, Right About Now, All Deaf Poetry, and Blavity. Y'all, without further ado, I'm gonna get out of here and give you the incomparable Akeem Alaj.
Children on the Moon. She rises when the sun sets, creates a rumble within a man's stomach. This she of a moon will bring out the beast in men, will break our sternum until we forget that our heart was beaten there. Shins tighten, ankle rotate backwards, face stretch forward towards the smell of her flesh. When she rises, it's time for us to go on attack. We men become wolves when pretty moons full, invisible, highlight the night sky. We stalk her, travel in packs, chase until she's exhausted. This makes the kill all the more delicious. We blame the moon for being beautiful. We blame the moon's mother of a universe for making her round in the right places. She knew what she was doing to us animals when she walked out the front door into the night sky looking like that. We don't respect the moon. We take an object meant to be worshipped and try to turn her into a trick, something meant to be pimped. As soon as she walks through the door, we tell her to bend over. Bend over, because us wolves, we only like it doggy style. Tell her that this is what she wants. She nothing more but a piece of meat ready for some hard seasoning. We want her to scream a wolfman name in the throes of flesh. We want her to climax now. We want her to apex for us. We want her to always be ready. Then we want her to always be ready to leave, run to the other side of the planet as soon as the sun rises. We want to act like she was just some accident that happens once every 28 days, but we don't respect her cycle. Don't see the God once a month where she bleeds, but yet we find it an inconvenience whenever her body has a one-on sentence, no period, just impregnated with what could be a galaxy. We want her to forgive our abandonment. We're just doing what animals do, keeping the moon underneath her paw prints. Her obedience will aid in our digestion of our self-respect. We want the moon to be easy. We don't want our mates to be easy like the moon. We want her fun for a random night. She never has to respect herself around us, because that's what she has the sun for. We want her in total darkness, light out, afraid that we might see ourselves in her eyes if we allow her to shine too bright. We, the howl at she, as if her was a piece of meat ready to feed our stomach. We forget how to use proper pronouns. When faced with their beautiful light, forget that the moon raised us better than this. Forget that the moon once held us doing bad dreams when we were pups. We catch amnesia, wanting her to catch dementia, to erase her existence behind the thumbprints of our last name. After all, it's only a tradition. It's only a lunar eclipse. This magical woman, able to ignore her needs in the daytime that tame us wolves while we are still men. We should not blame the moon for simply being the moon. We should worship the sky that the moon walks on, lock ourselves up in cages before we transform into beasts and try to gnaw at her bones as if she was a mistake. As men, we often make the mistake thinking a woman came from our rib, when in all reality, all men comes from a woman's womb, before we forget that without her, that without the moon, we men are nothing but a bunch of filthy, freaking animals.
Man, I couldn't unmute. Yo, so that is a poem for the men, right? How can we, be better in terms of how we respect women? Like, so when you do this poem, is it new? Have you gotten to do it in front of a live audience yet?
So this poem is actually old. I wrote this poem back in 2011.
2011.
And I've been performing it since then. It's actually one of the only poems I've ever written where the first draft is the draft that you're hearing.
Oh, wow.
Every other poem I've ever written, that's like drafts over drafts over drafts over drafts, but that one just came on up my noggin the way it is. I performed it the same day I wrote it, and then someone was like, "Don't change the poem." Everybody was like, "Don't change the poem, don't change the poem, don't change the poem." I'm like, "Oh, okay, I guess I won't change the poem this time." But it was actually inspired by my friendship with frequency.
Oh, okay. Shout out to Frequency. Wow. The poem was inspired by a friendship. What does that mean?
Frequency essentially alerted me to all the misogynistic ways that was subtly in my character,
Oh,
which
wow.
enabled me to basically study myself in order for me to deconstruct my own toxic masculinity. So throughout the poem,
Wow.
the werewolf is actually me, that I'm talking about, but I decided to talk about it in a general way, to so people could take it from it wherever they need to take from it. So that's how that poem came to be. I've performed that poem. That's my opening poem whenever I do like NACA and things like that. I booked so many shows from doing that one particular poem. I can't even count. But that's one of my, I guess, signature quote unquote poems.
Okay.
I don't believe in having signature poems, but that's a poem that I always go back to just because the meaning is still relevant to this day. We still
Very
have
much so.
issues with how we treat women in public spaces. The Olympics in 2024, perfect example with the boxer that everybody was claiming was like, everyone knows what's been going on with that. So I don't have to like reiterate it for this particular interview, but we still have issues with respecting women and all the different ways that women presents themselves. Like part of that poem, I even said that we forget how to use proper pronouns.
Yeah.
So it's like we often, as a species of men, have issues recognizing that without women, we wouldn't even be here.
Right. 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 Um, I'll try to be like, so does the same logic apply to your mother? And then they'll usually laugh at me and be like, ha ha, 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 of course you say that. Like my mom's completely different. I'm like, all right.
I actually don't have a good relationship with my mom or my dad. I had like a very abusive childhood, prolifically abusive. So
mm,
ever since I was 17, my therapist been telling me to stop like dealing with my parents. And it took me until like I was 27 to actually follow through on that. So
and you've written about that as well.
yeah, I've written extensively about that, but I'm not talking about that today. But yes, I have talked about that quite a bit in my work.
Okay. Well, what do you want to talk about today? What's going to be the next poem?
The next poem, I want to talk about love.
Okay. Well, let me get out your way.
This one is entitled Before Before. So my wedding was scheduled 7 days after the world shut down because of COVID-19. So needless to say, it got canceled. So this is the vows that I never got a chance to tell my partner. I had a dream that I was in love with you before I even saw you. Before your face greeted mine, my heart belonged in your hands. Before our skin touched, my soul belonged next to your heartbeat. Before our wedding, I have tried to put my words down on paper to explain our connection, and since I'm a poet, defaulting to traditional vows simply won't do. So, of course, I will love and protect. Be there in sickness and health, bear witness to all your brilliance. So, I'm going to write this poem so next time we're in the argument, I always can remember this feeling, how you always knew how to met my anger with a hug, how your smile contains the magic that cures all my bad days. I swear I think I loved you before. I mean, I have dreamt of this moment before. I mean, I believe that I have loved you before there was even a before there was concepts or words to explain concepts or letters to make words, for example, out of the word love. V was not even a letter until the 14th century. L and E, both created in 1800 BC. O is as old as the Egyptian hieroglyphs. So by saying this, I think in this dream, I loved you before love could even properly define itself, like two men in high reverence in society holding hands on the walls of the pyramids, like our love have been on this plane since humans were ancient, like this love is so strong it spans time gaps, maybe. In the last lifetime, we were both lions, a pride with two kings, or maybe we were two goats on top of a mountain surrounded by sheep, or maybe we were both wolves drawn to one another by the way that we howl at the moon. I don't care if in the next lifetime, if I'm a plate and you're a spoon. As long as I'm in the place setting where you are always by my side. Like they had to make edits in the 1940s to the Bible to speak out against this blasphemous happiness in hopes that it would never survive, but here we are alive, thriving. So thank you for showing me that love in the face of hate will always be the greatest protest. After being blessed with you in my life, I can consider you my very breath, my diaphragm, passively enabling life in your heartbeat. Your heartbeat just so happens to be the sweetest melody I've heard in my entire life. I swear I dreamed that I loved you before. I mean, I have dreamt of this very moment before. I mean, I loved you before there was even a before. And if this is a dream, I have no intention on waking up any time soon.
Oh man, what an amazing poem. I think I heard you do that last year. Um,
Yeah,
and
I
when you
had
broke,
open for Tink and the Bangers. I was like, I'm gonna do a love poem
that's
because all Tink
that's
talk about
right.
is love.
I was smart. I still remember that piece. And when you broke down the L, the O, the V, the E, sheesh, jeepers. Um, wow. And yeah, I don't know. I mean, some things are too big to talk about.
We could talk about it. Like we could talk about all the things of that poem. One of the reasons I decided to do that poem today specifically is because yesterday, really over the past 2 days, my father been trying to Bible thump me on the internet, saying that I'm going to hell. Using Leviticus of all parts And I even said part of that poem was like they had to make edits in the Bible in the 1940s. That's when they made the edits in Leviticus talking about pedophiles to homosexuals. Apparently, they did not want to denounce men having sex with children. They rather denounce men having sex with men, as if that's more important than children being raped. I found it very ironic because I was, sexually abused as a child, and yet my father, who one cheated on almost every wife he ever had, used to beat my mother, actually beat her one time in front of me. It was actually very physically abusive to me. I still have scars on my back to this day. To try to Bible thump me about me going to hell when, according to the Bible, all those infractions means that you're going to hell way harder than I, sir. And I have to actually inform him that you're studying the religion wrong. And if you are actually a Christian, like you claim you are, then you shouldn't even be following Leviticus because that's the Old Testament. Jesus died so we could live the New Testament. All the things, right?
I'm sure he didn't like that.
So he didn't like it. He was like, well, you just angry. You're so angry. I'm like, I'm not angry at all. I'm actually indifferent to your existence. But what I'm not going to do is allow you to think that you could just be out on the internet, on Beyonce's internet, talking about real people, saying we going to hell. Saying I don't understand why these women on the women basketball team so masculine. They're acting like men. They don't know they going to hell. Hold up, sir.
Okay.
Hold up, sir. We're not about to do that.
Oh my God. Going
We're
to
not
hell
doing
for
that
playing
today.
basketball. Okay. I mean, it's no more ridiculous than, mixing fabrics. I guess I'm going to hell too. I'm wearing like swimming trunks under here, so under this denim. So
Or eating
it's a
shrimp
it's a it's
or
a wrap for
crab or
me.
crustaceans. If you actually follow the Old Testament, everybody's going to hell.
It's gonna be,
Everybody.
huh? Well, hopefully not.
Well, I mean,
Hopefully,
Jesus died for us to live the New Testament. So
well, there we go. Well, sheesh. I mean, that's already a great note to take us out on. But what you got one more for us?
yes, I would like to do the last poem I wrote, which was like a week and a half ago.
Okay, new ships. Making out the
So I actually don't have a title for this poem yet. So any suggestions, please let me know.
Before it begins, let us know in the comments what you think the title should be. All right, I'm gonna be quiet now.
In case no one have told you today, you are stunning, a vision, you're special. In case no one have told you, even though your life might be a mess, you look well put together. You look like feathers, aspire to be you, that study your movements on how to be fly. You look like good credit, like you pay all your bills on time. You look fortunate, like a tax audit to find that the government owes you some residuals. You look like you could put your foot in some soul food. You look like you make curses taste like miracles, and you ran that outfit. Ran the skin that you're in as only you could. You're alive. After the world tried to kill you, you rolled up on your depression and didn't fight or argue. You beat that motherfucker with a baseball bat. You look like Ward Star or more like a supernova. You look like all the praise. You look like when asked what you bring to the table and you said the table. You look like favor is not fair, but you're always on the one that's favorable. You look like you're overqualified. So that's why you didn't get that job. You look like your rate is high because you're worth it. And it's okay if others can't afford it out here, walking around smarter than what people expected from your friend. You look like you got it all together because you called all your demons out by their name. You look like you go to therapy. You look like you so healed. You look like you came from nothing, was given nothing, and you made it anyways. You look like you're working for yourself now and you paying all your bills anyways. You look like your back hurt from carrying around all that fine all this damn time. You look like old money. You look like damn honey, sweeter than any nectarine when bees buzz and dash directions to the nearest flower. You're the luminescence they trying to see meaning. You're attractive. You look like you made of nothing but the best of God's fineness. You look like your mother did humanity a favor by gracing us humans with your likeness. You look like you're expensive today. You look like Bill Gates couldn't afford a minute of your time. You're looking like business is open and business is good. Like stress be on my foot of late, blessings on time. You look like you had a bad childhood and you still became a good person. You look like you had bad relationships and yet you still became a good person. You look like you was broken once, but on my mama, you look like you done healed. You look bold, like Amistad cactus. Excuse me. You look bold, like Amistad cactus, claiming their freedom on open seas. It's the audacity for some, but with you, it's definitely the confidence for me out here, looking like a home-cooked meal, like your 5 stars Yelp recommended, BBB certified, like your gumbo, crawfish pasta, Southern cuisine, i.e. your delectable dawning, your zero emissions flight in a basket of vegetables. Today, you look like you could cure global warming. You look like all the weapons that was formed against you has failed. You look like everything you thought you were. You look like even more than what you thought you could be. You look like the second coming of happiness. You look like what you are, beautiful, and how silly it is for you to ever think otherwise.
Sheesh. Business is open and
business
business
is good.
is good. Hakeem, where can they find you? How can they support you?
Well, I have all 3 of my chapbooks on sale on my website, akeemolaj.com. That's AKEEMOLAJ.com. This upcoming week, I'm also, over the past 2 years, been learning how to make jewelry. So I will be putting my jewelry on my website this weekend as well. If you would like to
Dang.
place an order, I also make cocoa shea butter.
The architect, the martial artist, the jewelry maker, the apothecary, and the hella championed Hakeem Olaj, everybody. McPherson, who you got next? Recording in progress. All right, here we go. Well, McPherson, I am here with an old friend, Icon Sibley. Icon, how are you feeling?
I'm feeling great. I'm happy to be here and just thankful and honored that y'all asked me to be a part of this.
Oh no, the Nuyorican Poets Cafe, has always loved, Team Snow has always loved you, and I'm so excited for y'all watching to hear this amazing poet's set. But y'all don't know her, so let me warm y'all up to what y'all about to bear witness to. A legendary, multiple time National Poetry Slam champion and multiple time viral spoken word artist. She has appeared on TV One's Verses and Flow, has performed on Essence Music Festival main stage, and her work has been featured on many worldwide platforms, including Huffington Post, For Harriet, Teen Vogue, and BBC World Radio. She is also featured on multiple recording projects alongside Grammy Award-winning artist. Shikandria is the author of My Name is Pronounced Holy, a collection of poems, prayers, rememberings, and reclamations. I'm gonna get out the way. Hey, yo, get that book. And poetry lovers, please bear witness to Icon.
To me is a delicate and intentional mixture of all those who came before me, rue-colored girl, forever girl, wearing years and ancestors like a head full of barrettes. You can never have too many of either. And I am many, stirred into one, many, and maybe there was one who once laughed just like me, all heavy chuckle and high cheek, one who also had one dimple in her right cheek, slanted smile and eyes, narrow hips and thick thighs. See, my mama say, I walk just like my Aunt Elaine, sister of my daddy, now angel, now another reason why I can fly. See, I am made of many feathers, double helix together, a spiral of spirits speaking in whispers and wind winding down my spine. spine, keeping my back straight. I am standing on the shoulders of giants and short women with big hearts and big men with short tempers and long work days. So when I love and when I rest, I think of them. Shit, I think I am them. Their best parts all married into masterpiece. Each piece of me is a story of survival. I mean, how else could I have made it here? Each time I look in the mirror, it is made clear that all of my features are functional and on purpose and perfect. Me, one of a kind, work of art. Yeah, maybe one of my kind had big hands just like mine that made beautiful things and wrote poems that now live through my fingertips. I am a hieroglyph of fingerprints, the entire history of me embossed into skin. Too many to count have left their mark on me. You know, I often stare at the birthmark on my right inner thigh, wondering what message one of them left just for me. It looks like a W and an I connected. My mama say it stands for ice cream and watermelon, one of the things she craved throughout her pregnancy before she spit out this seed. And at times, it looks like crouching man with fishing pole. I have yet to figure out what that means, but I'd like to believe that the W and the I together was them actually trying to write we, but it was left incomplete because one day I will give parts of myself to my own daughter, and in herself, she will see me and all the ones who came together to make her. So yeah. I've been writing a lot about just myself and home and family and like just going back to origin. So with that being said, and the makings of me, these are all poems I just scribble in my little notebook from time to time. So y'all are getting fresh things that nobody's ever heard. This is Dear Body that I did in a workshop with some students, and it's after Rudy Francisco. I did this with some of my kids in Arkansas. Dear Skin, you are a roadmap of scars, beautiful evidence of all the things I've survived flawlessly. Dear womb, you carry more life than ghosts. Dear hips, you are a narrow road that not everyone is worthy of traveling. Dear smile, many dark secrets hide behind you, yet you still find a way to shine. Crescent moon, dear freeform locks, heavenly antenna, nappy magic. You are what can happen when I release control and let go and let God. Dear hands, you create things that both you and the world need. Dear heart, you are a priceless mosaic of once broken pieces, all put back together again by love. Dear body, I owe you love, owe you an ocean of gratitude and deep, tight hugs, owe you smiles and sutures for all the times I looked in mirrors frowning and picking you apart, and still you remain whole and holy and here. You've done nothing to deserve any part of my critique or neglect, have done nothing but be there for me when no one else was. You have always been here, body, holding me together like skin and bone, like you got me, like you get me to wherever I need to go. Move me when I feel stuck or uninspired. Speak encouragement to me to keep going simply through another breath. Another heartbeat sounds a lot like God knocking, like love saying, let me in, like love and God are both already inside right here. This soft and sturdy building of a body, the first and only true home I have ever known. Hey. Some more poems. I got two more. One's pretty short. So this is about little girls who are from small towns like me. I'm originally from Alexandria, Louisiana, but I reside and have resided here in the city of New Orleans since I was a teenager. I'll be 44 next month, so y'all do the math. But this is called Muse. You know, somewhere in a little town like mine, in a hood like mine, on a street like mine, in a house like mine, maybe there is a girl with simple words who need to see another name that look like it could be her mamas or her sisters or her aunties or her cousins or her best friend or hers. When she searches for something familiar across rows and rows and rows, down spines and spines and spines, between pages and pages and pages, within lines and lines and lines of names that are stingy with syllables, or names that are no louder than a respectable tone, or even names that broke through the dirt of any other country, but here, any names other than the ones that in sea sickness were vomited up on these shores and washed away more and more with each ravenous tide. Yeah, any names other than the ones who called this home long before thieves came and picked the locks, set up shop and changed it to America. Yeah, maybe she a country girl from country folk with dismembered knowledge of her origin before her big daddy, her Medea, and God. Maybe much of her lineage lies scattered somewhere beneath a row of headstones in a garden of memories, a place with too many flowers and not enough remembering, or beneath rows of crooked crosses in overgrown churchyards on now abandoned roads, somewhere in Alexandria, somewhere in Boyce, somewhere in Taylor Hill, in Hannah, in Three League, in Powhatan, somewhere in Minnie, somewhere in the middle of maybe only God knows where, somewhere where entire villages and towns full of faces and names hopped into the casket too when such and so died. Somewhere in the whole wide country, maybe there is a girl who don't know nothing about her could be West African, or her could be Caribbean, or her could be part Indian, or her could be nothing else but her for sure Black. She who only got faith in a God she can feel but can't quite name, and both her grandmama's faith in Jesus and prayer. She who is of those who tuck their dreams reverently in the pages of dog-eared devotionals and superstition. She who knows Proverbs and Psalms and salt and shoulders, knows fire and brimstone, stone and spit and brooms, knows wine and wafers and cracks and mamas with damn near broken backs. Yeah, she who is tender mustard greens and hot water cornbread, crafted in hand-me-down cast iron skillets and skillfully eaten with fingers instead of forks, because she was taught that we already came here with everything we need, and besides, it just tastes better that way. She who is homemade biscuits, butter biscuits, and mud pies and everything southern and deep and brown and made lovingly by hand. Yeah, maybe she needs to see a familiar face, a familiar name, hear a familiar story about how something so living can grow from the same kind of stolen land. I love doing that poem. That's a shout out to my people in Alexandria, in the country, in Louisiana, eating cornbread and collard greens with their fingers. And last but not least, I always want to end on joy. I used to be this rah-rah political poet, and now I say what I understand is that the healing of this world is not in politics, but it's in the people, and most specifically, it's in the person. So we got to do this work on an individual level to get to where we got to go. And so, yeah, we ain't going to wait, because joy is right here. There is joy right here. Joy right here between sky and soil. We smile here, big and wide as the galaxy. We don't have to wait till heaven to have happiness. No, here is where we are deserving, as well as in the hereafter. But y'all, while we here, we gonna live to the fullest. Before our lungs empty, we gonna exhale laughter from the ocean of our bellies. And with gladness, our mouths gonna stretch infinitely from ear to ear. In this atmosphere right here, gonna be filled with sounds of our contentment. Here, we are satisfied, satiated and silly, carefree with the innocence of all of us as children. Yeah, right here is our playground. And here, our moods do not swing, do not seesaw, dip low, only climb, only jump higher till our joy reaches cotton candy clouds. See, right here, right here, right here for us will be sweet, like frozen cup and snowball syrup sticking to us, and it can't be washed off. No, it can't, because this joy we have right here, right now, the world didn't give it, and the world can't take it away. No, not this joy. This joy we got right here. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. It's been a joy.
Icon. What? Nah.
What?
Smile as wide as a galaxy. I'm stuck.
Yes.
Yo,
You.
I love the what you said in the first poem. A line that stuck out to me was the entire history of me embossed on my skin. Did I get the quote right?
Yeah.
You know, be writing.
We
Multi
are those who came before us, which is beautiful, because that means we all each other, you know. I am my neighbor. Our
speaking
neighbors.
speaking of, I just wanted to ask because, like, I still have not made my way to Louisiana, but I'm wondering, like, so born in Alexandria, um, working and residing in New Orleans for a while, I think as long as I've known you. Um, how would you say like Louisiana has like shaped you as an artist and as a person? Like, I wonder like how different I'd be if I was born in Louisiana and stayed in Louisiana.
Yeah. It's something in the dirt. Here in Louisiana, we have a lot of red dirt, a lot of swamp. And it's in the people, like that thick, deep murkiness, like it's a telltale sign of like all the secrets and the shit we hold, but it's also
Mm,
like testament to how deep the love runs too. And everything we do is thick and slow and all those things, like the way we speak, the drawl, the accents, the way we cook, like we don't rush and do things. When mama cooked red beans, you soak the beans the day before and they cook all day the next day. Like we're just an intentional and deliberate people. And I think that's made me an intentional and deliberate artist.
mm,
To even with my career, I think we talked about it at the beginning. I didn't start slam until I was like 28. And even my trajectory has been like, but it's also been like a slow climb, a slow, steady climb. And I think I'm patient in that and accepting of that trajectory simply because of
mm.
where I'm from and the people who I come from. Because we know when it cooks slow and simmer, like how good that meal is going to be when we get it. So I know how good the joy is that I worked for and all the things I work for are going to be when it gets here because I put so much intention and marinated.
Sheesh. Wow. That is so different than New York, I'll tell you what. Wow. Thank you for sharing that. Yeah, yeah. Every minute counts because the rent is getting
Yeah,
higher with
hey
every minute.
baby,
So,
everybody. Hey baby, hey neighbor. Like I'm surprised my neighbors ain't come out here and like mess up the whole recording.
nah.
But we those people. Hey, how you doing to everybody you see on the street? That's just the Louisiana way.
New York is like, I don't know. Like, someone could be like, yo, my life is over. Can you please help? And it's like, I literally have to keep going, or that'll be me. Like, I have to keep going. Like, that's the vibe. Is yeah. But it's yeah, it's just different. It's just different.
Yeah.
But no matter where we're at, where we're from, uh, you know, we gotta support the artists. So, where can the people find you? What's the project? How can we support you?
Yeah, so I'm kind of artist usually on everything. I ain't really a Twitter, TikTok person. I'm on Instagram at times, not really on Facebook. I think my good sister Sunny says, like, if you want to reach me, you can reach me telepathically. Like, I'll be getting these signals. I'm that tuned in, like I really am. I have a book I put out during the pandemic that I toured with Tank from Tank and the Bangers, my good old Team Snow
Team
friend.
Snow?
My name is pronounced Holy. So you can find that on my website, also on Amazon, but get it through the website because I sign them personally and put a little love and kiss it and hug it and send it to you. Also, I'm working on the second book. And yeah, I'm out here in these streets. Want to book me? Anything, like I'm here for it all. Just ready to share this message of love through words and healing and poetry and all the things that slam started out for me, you know.
Okay, well, look,
Slam started out with the get it out, get it out, get it out. And now it's like,
slow cook,
now nurture it. Now that you got it
slow
out,
cook,
nurture the
slow cook.
yeah.
Well, Icon, thank you so much for that incredible set. Super fire, not surprised, but wow, yo, this episode has been fantastic. Thank you so much for joining us. And
You're gonna get to New Orleans. You let me know when you're ready, and I got a couple of places I can get you booked.
hey, listen, let's make it happen because I've been wanting to go to New Orleans ever since I saw you and Akeem on the 2012 team. And then it just got worse when I met Frequency in 2015. Like, oh man, I gotta go. Too many homies out there.
Mhm.
Um,
We'll feed you
well,
good, love on you good. Some people gonna tell you, "Hey, babe," and you get to take that back to New Orleans, to New York.
yeah, I'll be in New York. Hey, baby. Hey, baby. Oh no,
They'll be like,
get them.
but it's good to see you, McPherson. Always good to reunite. We don't get to see all of our poetry people as often as we should. And I hate like when it's something sad that happens that we, whatever.
Yeah.
I think yeah, everybody's living life now and adulting, but it's good if we're too about reaching out. So I'm thank you that you intended to reach out to me and the rest of my New Orleans fam to bring us into this.
Oh no, of course. And it's like, yeah, you're absolutely right because it's very hard to do this poetry thing across this planet. And I'm really grateful to the Nuyorican Poets Cafe and the Mid Atlantic Group for allowing me to do this project because honestly, it's also helped me just like reconnect with the poetry homies and then introduce said poetry homies to New York. So, because New York needs that inspiration right now for real. So
Good.
it's been a mutual
Everybody gonna
blessing.
be like, what happened to Icon? She used to be so hard. Now she all kumbaya and shit. I'm still hard. I
Exactly.
just
It's still there. It's just we're chilling in the house. We got the plants. We're chilling today. Like,
you
you
see
know,
me.
rest is revolutionary as well. But it's rest. And there might come a moment where you pick up the pen and move it in a political shape. I don't know. I don't know. Well,
Good.
I'm excited to hear those new poems. I'm glad that you're writing new things, and I'll see you down the road. And everybody else, thank you so much for watching. Let us know in the comments what the next stop on the Beatnix virtual poetry tour should be. And we'll see y'all in the next episode.